around this time of the year, I really love reflecting and asking myself if this has been a good year or not, and what can I improve on. And I remember 2 days ago, I was tempted to think that this was the worst year of my life because I did not have the vacation that I was really looking forward to last year. And a voice inside of me reminded me that I am lying. This has not been the worst year of my life. And I really started to think that, yeah, that is true, because for me, the worst year was when I lost my dad. That was really difficult for me and my family. And I remember there was a time where I spent Christmas alone because I could not afford to go home, and also I was not working. I was staying with relatives, and I knew that if I had gone home that year, they were not going to allow me to stay with them the following year. Have you ever been in a situation where you were staying with people, whether it is your friends or relatives, but you feel like you have stayed with them for too long and you feel like you're not really welcomed anymore? It felt like that for me. And I remember the other time I was working, but I was really earning peanuts and I could not afford to buy a ticket to go home. And I just remembered that actually this year I was able to fly my kids home. So it was their first time for them, and looking them in their faces, in their experience, was such an amazing moment for me. That is actually the biggest highlight of the year for me, being able to afford to fly my entire family home when there was a time where I could not even afford a bus ticket, right? And for me, I know that this might be something small for someone else, but for me, it is a big deal because, like, I would have never thought that I would be able to afford the things that I afford right now. And I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or I think that I'm better than anyone, but like when I look back, I really have humble beginnings, and I'm so grateful. And I feel like sometimes when we have the luxury, like maybe to work from home, the luxury to fly when you want to go home, the luxury to stay in hotels, the luxury to buy organic food, like those are things that we tend to take for granted, not knowing that there are people out there who really struggle. So I think the biggest takeaway from this is that we need to learn to be grateful and to remember the things, the blessings that we have, and to never take anything for granted. And I think another person who really inspired me to think about this is Adrian. I really love Adrian Balon. I really love Adrian because even the way she speaks, she doesn't say I have to. She says, I get to, I get to. And that is such a beautiful way to speak because it reminds you that you get to do the things that you do. You don't have to, but you're so blessed, you're so privileged to have the things that you have. So I really want to improve on that and change my language and start being grateful because really, God has never left and He will never leave and He will never let me drown. And I am so grateful for my health. I am so grateful for all the blessings that I have had this year. And I think when we take a moment to keep quiet, to just look at the environment around us, we realize how blessed we are. I'm saying this because yesterday I was watching my daughter riding a bicycle and I thought, this is so amazing. Like, I felt so warm inside. I felt so grateful because for me, that is an answered prayer. That is something that I've always wanted to see, and seeing it was really such an amazing moment for my life. And I feel like sometimes when we don't get the things that we really wanted, we feel like God has forsaken us. We feel like God has been quiet. We feel like the year has been bad. When in actual fact, God has been there all along. When God has prioritized the things that are really important, the most important things, like keeping us safe, keeping us sane, keeping us alive, sustaining us, meeting all our needs. Sometimes we focus so much on the things that we did not get, like that job that we're really rooting for, that job that you prayed for and maybe fasted for, not knowing that maybe God was protecting you from something that you have no idea about. So I think that is another lesson that I have this year, that we need to realize that we don't have the whole perspective of what is happening around us. We have only a small perspective, and God knows better. So when He does not answer your prayer on that thing that you really wanted, you need to understand that He has something better for you, or He is protecting you from something that could have possibly destroyed you. And I'm just so grateful for all the lessons that I have had this year. And if I'm being honest, this has been an amazing year. Even when I look at my bank balance, there were times where I was on a negative balance. I was really, really, really struggling. There were times where I did not have peace of mind. There were times where I could not sleep because so much was just happening in my life. So just to have peace, just to have clarity, just to have love around you, people who love you unconditionally, your family, your friends, just to be able to laugh is such a blessing. And I think those are things that we tend to take for granted. And yes, I think to answer my question, this has been an amazing year for me, even though I feel like it could have been better, but I know that everything happens for a reason. And I know that God is ordering my steps. And I think this reminds me of Mark 4, verse 39, I think, where Jesus was with the disciples in a boat and the ocean started raging, and then they started panicking, thinking, Jesus, wake up, because Jesus was sleeping throughout that time. And they were like, Jesus, wake up, help us, what is happening, we're gonna die, don't you care about us? And then Jesus came and said, relax yourself, just calm down, why don't you have faith? And then he spoke to the ocean, and then the waves were calm, the storms were calm. So I feel like when you're going through the storms in our lives, we might feel like we are alone, that God doesn't care for us. But we need to understand that God is in control. We need to understand that those are just moments. And even if He is quiet or He is sleeping, we need to understand that He is with us and He is not going to leave. And the fact that Jesus was there in the boat meant that nothing was going to happen, but they just didn't have faith. So it's important to have faith that God is watching you all the time. He never leaves you, and that everything is going to be okay. And as long as you don't throw in the towel, everything is going to be okay. And I think the last one that I want to just say is, I also want to just extend my gratitude to the artists who share their voices and their gifts with us. They don't understand how their music heals so many people around the world, how their music can pick someone up who was in the verge of throwing in the towel, someone who was ready to give up, and then they just play someone's music and they just feel rejuvenated, they feel more connected to God, they feel like everything is going to be okay. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? I really love reading your comments, and I'm going to respond to all of them. And if you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. I really appreciate you, and I thank you for your time. Until next time, have a great day. I love you so much. Goodbye.